If you're trying to land your first AI client, you've probably been told you need paid ads, cold emails, or even cold calls. I believe that too because I ended up spending weeks doing outreach the hard way, getting ignored and thinking that I just needed to grind more. But here's what nobody told me, because there's a step that comes before all of that. A faster path that costs nothing and has almost no competition at all. But most people skip it because it seems too simple. I run an AI consultancy where I help businesses implement AI systems and solutions. And looking back, this would have saved me months. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that step is and how you can book your first few calls this week with no budget, no cold emails, or no paid ads. Anyways, enough of the talking. Let me show you how this thing works. So here's why this strategy works really well, because first of all, cold outreach converts between 1 to 3%, and the reason why that happens is because you're reaching out to strangers who simply don't know you, who don't trust you, and have no reason to respond to you. However, when it comes to warm contacts, these are people already in your phone and your social media network, which is why they convert between 20 to even 40% sometimes. Guess why? Because that relationship already exists. And right now, as you're watching this, you're sitting on thousands of contacts right now. And simply, it's not a contact list, it's a client list waiting to be activated. And here's simply how you turn those contacts into clients. And it all starts with step 1. I want you to get everyone in one place: your phone contact, your social media network, all. So starting with your phone contact, I want you to take everyone saved in your phone: your friends, your family, your old colleagues, your past clients, your acquaintances, all of that. I want you to export it and save it in a CSV. After that, I want you to take out everyone you can message on your social media platform, whether that be LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I want you to take that and make a list of your followers, your friends list, your connections, and just make a master list. You can use AI for this. It gets it done for you at a faster time than you would do it manually, and basically segment it into these columns. You have name, platform, tier, and status. After that, I want you to segment your contacts, which is basically the tier system, because not all contacts are simply equal. Some can buy and some can connect you to buyers. So this basically brings us into the 2-tier systems, because tier 1 is basically your potential buyers. These are people who could actually become your clients, and for them to be a tier 1 contact, they have to fit this criteria, which is right business size, right industry, and you've basically talked to them before. The second one is basically tier 2, which is also what I like to call the referral sources, because these are people who don't fit the criteria of tier 1, but then they know people who do, and they might be friends in different industries, old colleagues, family with business connections, or anyone with simply a network. And now I want you to take that list that you built and take each contact and ask yourself, do they run a business that fits my criteria? If yes, they are simply a tier 1, and if no, they are simply a tier 2. So fill this in now, pause this video, write down the 5 tier 1 contacts that you may have, and write down the 5 tier 2 contacts that you have. Which brings us over to step 3, which is the message framework, because you don't just call someone out of nowhere. That's completely weird. You first message to warm the conversation up, then you get them on the call, because that's simply the goal. And the part 1, which we might say the opener, is basically a personalized opener. I want you to reference something specific about them because you know them. And here are basically 2 examples that you can use. After that, you basically send the opener, which brings us to the part 2, which is what I like to call the brief catch-up. This is basically 2 to 3 messages of real conversations where you can ask follow-up questions, you show genuine interest, not just that, but you don't rush to ask for the call, because people can actually tell when you're trying to sell to them, and people hate that so much. Now the part 3, which is basically the casual call invite, because you just casually invite them to a phone call. It doesn't have to be a Google Meet meeting or a Zoom meeting, just a quick phone call or a WhatsApp call or a FaceTime call. And here's a quick example of a conversational flow that this can basically go through from step 1 all the way to step 3. And now basically the tier 1 contacts that you have, I want you to write the contact name here, what you reference, and then your opener, basically, which is step 1. And if you want access to this document, you can click the first link in the description below and you can get access to this and fill it while you're watching this video. And now the call framework, because the call just has one job. It is simply to introduce what you do and send them something to review. This could be a short video explaining your service, or a Loom walkthrough, or a case study, or even a simple one-pager, something visual that they can review on their own time. If you don't have a video, even a website or a PDF works. The point is giving them something to process after the call, and this is basically the process of the call. It all starts with a catch-up, which is basically a real conversation. You ask them about their life, their business, and just ask them about themselves and be genuinely interested. Make sure to not rush this part and don't make it about you. Then this brings us to part 2, because in part 2 is when they ask you what you're up to, and then that is where you come in and just say what you do, because obviously if they've been talking about themselves, you would obviously want to ask, like, what have you been doing as well, or what have you been up to? So that is where you basically share. You don't pitch, but then you share. Now, which is basically sending the info, which is part 3, when they ask how it works. Or even if they don't ask, you can just say, oh, you send them some information about how it works, which means they will review it. Make sure that whenever you're sending this info, it has to be on the call or a few seconds after the call, not a few days or weeks. And when you're sending the info, you can say, oh, I made a short video that explains it, I'll send it over, or let me send it to you, it's easier to show than explain. Important thing here is that you do not ask if they want it, you tell them that you send it. And things that you can send, as I've said, is a short video, a Loom walkthrough, a case study, a website, or a one-pager. And the first place that I would recommend is basically WhatsApp. Is the best place actually, because people always check it constantly. And if you're, let's say, in a country where the messaging app that they use is on WhatsApp, most of the time it's going to be iMessage, so you send it through iMessage. And as I've said, you send it during the call or a few minutes after the call. So now I want you to look at this example and I want you to fill in this now, which is basically your transition line, what you send them, and your send message. So now, reaching out to those warm contacts and having these conversations is how you get in front of potential clients. But knowing how to position your offer, how to package it properly, how to actually close them into paying clients is a different kind of skill. And that's exactly what my team helps you with, because we come in, we help you build your offer, we position you, we turn these conversations into $3,000, $5,000 deals. If you like that, you can click the link in the description below and we'll get you sorted out with that. So now that you've sent your information to your warm contacts, most people won't respond immediately. Some will ghost, and that is expected. Here's what separates people who landed the clients and those who simply don't, which is basically the follow-up and qualification stage. Because after sending your information, follow up, but make sure you do it in the right way, because the wrong way is that you message every single day asking if they watched it, and that is simply annoying. The right way is that you do thoughtful touches spaced over 10 days, with the first follow-up being a direct ask. Just ask them, okay, did you check out the video 2 to 3 days after you sent it? And then the second follow-up is basically a personal reference, or you ask them about something that you guys talked about on the call, so it seems like you're referencing something from the call. Then the third follow-up is just basically you adding a value and asking again once they reply to the value add that you did, and asking them, oh, did they check out the video? So that is simply the follow-up process. We have follow-up 1 within 2 to 3 days, then follow-up 2 within 5 to 6 days, then follow-up 3 within 8 to 10 days. So make sure to fill this in, write in your first follow-up message, the thing that you would reference in follow-up message 2, and then the piece of value that you could share in follow-up 3. Then now it brings us to qualification through conversations, because if they reply, you're going to be like, Ahmed, I don't know what to do, but calm down, got you covered. So when they respond about your video, you want to qualify them naturally inside the DM. You want to listen for these few things. You want to listen if they have a problem, are they interested, and what's their timeline. And you want to ask it naturally, not directly, but indirectly, like in a conversational way, not in an interrogation manner. You want to ask them what stood out to you. Are you dealing with the problem right now, or what does your current setup look like? So once you have qualified and asked these questions in a conversational manner, you can go ahead with the final stage, which is basically booking the call, because you can sense when they are interested. And when they're interested, you simply come in and just position the call as a valuable call or a continuation of the conversation you're currently having. And here's how you do it. You first start by asking when they are free. Then after that, you suggest 2 to 3 times, so that be 5:30 on Monday, 6:30 on Monday, or in the morning on Tuesday, basically giving them a variety of options. But I would recommend limiting it to just 2 options, which means it's going to be a this or that decision for them to make. Then they pick one. After that, you get their email and you book them in yourself onto your calendar, not sending them your calendar link. So it increases the conversion rate, or should I say the booking rate. So make sure you follow that. And that's basically it for tier 1. So now we might say, what about for tier 2? We might forget about them. What about the people that help us refer to those tier 1 contacts? Don't worry, it's still here, because tier 2 contacts, as I've said, they can't buy, but they can introduce you to people who can, which are basically the tier 1 contacts. And the approach is simple. We want to use the same framework to get them on the call, but on the call, after catching up and they ask you, oh, what have you been up to? Then at the end of you explaining or saying what you have been up to, you ask them, oh, do you know anyone that could relate to this or that could be helped with this thing that I'm doing? You can see you're not asking them to buy, you're simply asking them if they know anyone. And once you do that, there are a variety of ways that I can recommend when it comes to introing you to the person. The first one can be maybe they speak with the person first, and then basically you send a message to that person directly. You tell them, oh, XYZ person told me about you, and then you send them the video. But make sure they have made the intro first before you message the person that they are referring you to. And another way is that they basically create a group of 3 of you, and then they basically intro you, and then you send the video over there. And then once you send the video and then they've introed you, it's basically the same process, the same follow-up process, the same qualification process, and the same way you book them onto your calendar. And if they don't know anyone, when you ask them on the call, it's fine. Just continue having your conversation just like you're having it with your friend. I just simply catch up. It's fine. You can stay in touch with them, and you never know, referrals might come from them in the future. So now, a quick exercise. I want you to first write your intro ask line, and then write down 5 well-connected tier 2 contacts you can reach out to today. So now you see, you don't need cold calls, paid ads, or even cold emails to land your first AI client. You just need to stop skipping the easiest way that you can get clients and start speaking first with people who actually trust you. But we all know getting that first conversation is just one part of the equation. The other part lies in knowing how to package the offer, how to position yourself, and how to close the deals that turn conversations into thousands and thousands of dollars. I just made a full video breaking down the whole thing, and you can go watch it right here. Anyways, that's all from me today. I'm Ahmed, and I will see you in the next one.